Hello friends, Miss Crystal here for another Quickie off video. In this series, we travel through time and we look at art from the past. And yes, no, you do not need a time machine. Yes, it is art, just to be clear. So this image is from 2024. I know this is from winter because one thing I remember. And a second thing is that around winter, so November, December, I always try and do a winter image with any students that I have. So this one was done, as I said, in 2024. When you start with watercolor, you always want to lay down your ground colors. So those are the background colors that you can build upon. So here we have yellows, we have oranges, we have pinks or reds that are done with alizarin crimson because it is glorious for your background colors. It's beautiful. If you don't have alizarin crimson, get some because it's awesome. Now it is a transparent color, which is really great for when you're doing skies and stuff like that. It's very see-through, so if you're trying to do like a really solid pink, maybe not use that color. Okay, so just a little tidbit. Now this entire painting was done, drumroll please, with Crayola watercolors. Yes, Crayola watercolors are your best friend when you're doing a beautiful painting like this, but you will hate it if it doesn't say education on it. Was this sponsored by them? No. Do I use these? I do. I use them with my kids students. I use them with my adult students. But something to know is you need to add water to these before you start painting. I just reuse, it's a 10, and put water in it. Make sure you rinse it out really good because you don't want it's 10 conditioner all over your stuff. Not so much, right? So I spritz it just lightly because I don't want a puddle on my paint, but I just spritz it real light. And do you see the shine that gets on there? I don't know if you can see the shine. You just want it moist. Now, if I'm going to use a lot of color, I spray it twice as much just so it's going to loosen all of those colors and pigments. Now, there's some other techniques that you want to know about. Here, the sun, I believe we used painter's tape, so we drew a circle with a pencil, cut it out with scissors, stuck that on there, rubbed it really good, because if you don't rub it really good, it bleeds really bad. The other thing you can do, which is so good, is using masking fluid. So this is a masking fluid I like. Now, if you've ever used masking fluid before, it can dry out. So if you haven't used it in a couple years, check it out before you try and use it. Otherwise, you're going to be highly disappointed. It can build up, and I just take the little gooey stuff. It's kind of like back in the day before they changed the recipe for rubber cement. You could use rubber cement and it would work great, but now they've changed the recipe, so I would not use rubber cement instead of masking fluid. When you paint this, do not use a glorious, beautiful brush. It will ruin the brush. You can, however, use the back of the brush or a dotting tool. That's what I use with all my classes because it can come off. You can also buy rubber tools, also used for clay. So any of those things I mentioned, a lot of people will use a tool like this. They often come with clay kits, but they're also good for painting. People use them for sculpting, all sorts of things. As I said, a dotting tool works just great, and you can get the gumminess off really easy, okay? So that is what I would suggest using. The other thing I want to show you is the trees. So with watercolor, typically if you want white, you want to use masking fluid or something along that lines and save the white. So all of this white is the white of the board or the paper, and then you're doing light colors on top, okay? But you can also use white gouache. This is the kind I like to use. Something to keep in mind if you've never used gouache, I like to tell my students gouache is kind of like if watercolor and acrylic had a baby, it would be gouache. Now, gouache does come in different colors. You can actually use this as a painting medium. A lot of people don't. They feel like it's more flat or it's harder to work with because it does have qualities of acrylic and it does have qualities of watercolor. And so if you're not well experienced, I think it's worth a try. But it is good for bringing back the white. And here I've kind of allowed it to mix with my other color to make it match and blend, but you can see all my trees have gouache on it to bring back some of that white. If I tried that with watercolor paints, watercolor white is so see-through and transparent, I might be able to get to that tone, but it would be really, 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 really difficult. So that's why you use gouache. Now in college, I had to use gouache on a painting. It was a sailboat, and I had totally painted part of the ship where it wasn't a sailboat, it was a ship, sorry. And I had cut off part of it because I thought it was the water, and I made water where it's supposed to be ship. So I was able to use this. It does rehydrate, so keep that in mind. So it'll remix with your colors, but it's really good as a backup for artists if you forget to tape something off or something along that lines. Okay, so it's a really good thing to know about. So this done in 2024. Thank you for coming back to 2024 with me. I hope you enjoy this painting. This was a 4-hour painting, and I hope you enjoyed this quickie art video. Miss Crystal signing off. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye guys.